We live?
Are we live? I don't think we're live yet.
Yeah. The intro music went off. Did you not hear it?
Nope.
No, we didn't hear
Sorry,
it.
that is my fault.
Welcome to Birds Deep, baby.
Deep.
We're back.
Woo! Birds deep. Going off with a little hitch like Jalen Hurts' throw. But with that being said, I'm here. This is the Godfrey. Birds Deep is jumping off. It is our first inaugural show of the season. We took off for training camp because we don't want to be like the other sports talk show and inventing bullshit topics just to get through the day and get through the episode. So we wanted to come back when there was relevant stuff to talk about, and that is now. So I'm the Godfrey, THEEGODFREY, for our new listeners, and I got my man over here, Gene, Mean Gene.
Mean! Woo! Gene. What's happening,
There
fellas?
we go.
I'm trying to share this on my Facebook. I didn't realize that we are going to be live this quick, so I'm trying to get in and share it on the
same boat. Same boat.
All right, well, you can just start. I'm going to copy the link in my Facebook.
I went down to see the Phillies last week and check out Creepy Pete. And then Gene was down there tailgating. And he got to go to the Eagles practice as well as I did. We met up there and we got to see the Eagles practice live and in person. So we will be talking about that because practice has been a subject of the Eagles that has been exhausted. The big question coming into the season really has been Jalen Hurts because the quarterback is the most important position. And we're questioning, can he do some things? Will he improve? Will he take a Josh Allen leap? You know, not to say he'll be the same person. So we're talking about all that great stuff. And I think Gene's got his opinion. I got mine. We share a lot. And we're going to be talking about the draft picks, how they looked, training camp battles, things of that nature. All birds deep. And we're going to be going all the way with this. Gene, what do you think? We got questions coming into the season. Like we went to the practice Sunday night, right? We'll just jump right into that.
Yeah, no, I was there. I tailgated it. I watched the entire practice in its entirety. I was very I don't know, like I was impressed with a lot of players on the team. I think the defense looked really good in a lot of different ways. I was super surprised to see the reaction from a lot of the fans and a lot of the Eagles beat reporters talking about how Jalen Hurts looked. Jalen Hurts is the biggest topic right now, man. It just is. Jalen Hurts is the topic of the day. Godfrey, why don't you do me a favor? Start off, let me know what you've seen. I don't want to have a biased opinion towards this. I'd like to just give my full breakdown after you.
So here's my thing. This is what I saw. We're in the stands. You can see it on film. I was wrong about one thing. I asked Gene about this. I said, do you think that was A.J. Brown? Everybody's seen the catch online that A.J. Brown made in the throw. I mean, everybody's seen this, right? It's been all over the place. Great catch, great throw. I asked Gene, I said, who do you think that was more of? He said, I think it was both. And after further review, I agree with him. It was both. Good throw, good catch. But I think that doesn't tell the story. And what I noticed is, and jump in, Gene, if you think I'm wrong here, but I guess there's opinion and then there's fact, right? But fact is he's not anticipating the throw still. And that ball needs to be out of his hand before the receiver's making that turn. So it was one read and a dump off, one read and run, or run right away on a design run. I didn't see him go through his progressions to 1, 2, or 3. There might have been a couple times where it went 1 and 2, but a lot of times when it went 1 and 2, it was 1 and 2 was a dump off. And I just feel like, I don't know if they weren't showing anything on purpose. I mean, it was practice. There wasn't another team there. Bill Belichick wasn't filming in the stands. And, I know
Bill Belichick could have been filming in the stands.
He could have been. Here's the other thing.
I don't know. I'm just, like, my whole point of Jalen Hurts is his anticipation hasn't changed. It's still poor.
No.
And when I say poor, I mean, he has to. All right, so when you think of an out route, or you think about a comeback route, most really good quarterbacks throw the ball before the receiver even plants their foot. Now, good quarterback, like your Kirk Cousins of the world, just your good quarterbacks are going to throw the ball when he plants his foot. Jalen Hurts throws the ball when he sees the face mask. That's not anticipation. That's called a see it passer. A see it passer. He has to see the player's face mask to know where he's throwing the ball. He has
Cornerbacks love that.
of real issues with throwing the ball to a spot and hoping and knowing his receiver will be there. I don't know if it's trust issues. I don't know if it's anticipation. And I still believe there's arm strength issues. One of the things that I noticed more than anything was, yes, the A.J. Brown throw was awesome. But he's still, even in practice, one look, doesn't see anything there, and he darts. A lot of Eagles fans gave him credit for how he looked when he ran. Oh, like Hurts would have broke a touchdown there. You realize he has a red shirt on for a reason. Can't touch the quarterback. And they didn't dive at his legs. They didn't grab at his jersey because they don't want to hurt the quarterback. So with that being said, I think it's really obvious that, he has issues with anticipation.
He has a lot of work to do.
100%,
and I think, and listen, maybe that's not his strength, and that's not the type of quarterback he's going to be, but he still needs it in his toolbox because there's going to be the defenses are going to make him go where he can't, and that's what they're going to game plan for. Okay, we know the Eagles are going to run. We know it's going to be a run-heavy scheme. We have to defend the run and make him pass, right? We're going to spy him with a linebacker, and the Eagles' offensive line, I hear you guys. They're really good. They're up there. They're ranked high. I get it. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to score points quickly. And the reason is we all think the defense will be better, and I believe they will. But if you get behind, the best example I could give here, look at Dak Prescott. Not saying they're the same quarterback, but when he gets behind by about 14 points, he becomes pedestrian because they know he has to pass the ball. He's not threading the needle, and he's not making 4 or 5 reads. Like the thing that makes Brady great, he makes 4 reads in 2 seconds. Literally. It's not an exact number, but he gets rid of the ball quickly, and he sees the opportunity quickly. It's about processing the play, pre-snap reads, all of that stuff. And the problem is, I just don't think he's there yet. So Gene, correct me if I'm wrong here, because you're more of a college football buff than I am. Someone brought up something on the radio I thought was interesting. He was in Alabama, and everybody goes, he did well in Oklahoma. But he went to a conference that was not known for defense. Am I correct in saying that? Going to the Big 12?
Big 12 isn't defense at all. Very spread conference. They run a lot of spread ball. Lincoln Riley designs plays open. He tells you where you need to throw the ball and when you need to throw the ball. You can't do that in the NFL because everything's disguised. Disguised scheme.
Right.
So, like, give you for instance, Oklahoma runs cover 2 every play. Right. Every single play. So, like, if you're a college quarterback playing against Oklahoma, you know where the holes in the defense are going to be. It's not disguised. You're not there long enough. They're not professionals. They're not there long enough to disguise things. So, yes, Oklahoma, he looked better because Lincoln Riley is an absolute stud at scheming people open.
And SEC is a better conference as far as defense by far, correct?
Correct. You have a lot more. I mean, obviously, you can see that just by the NFL draft, who gets drafted in the first round. Georgia Bulldogs had 7 defensive players drafted. They had 3 go in the first round. So, I mean, you can see that just by one team. Alabama constantly has players going in the first round, 4 or 5 defensive players going in the first round every other year.
Yeah, I don't want to seem like. Oops, that was me. Sorry, guys. So I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to hear people saying, well, you don't want to see Jalen Hurts succeed. I think me and Gene as Eagles fans both, this is why it's called Birds Deep. We want Jalen to succeed. If I'm wrong and he blows the doors off, awesome. But I'm just going by what I'm seeing with my eyes. I mean, I'm hoping to see some progression. Maybe we see something different in the game, but what did you see in practice that he did well, Gene, that you thought he did well?
I think the biggest thing he did well was the throws to Dallas Goedert across the middle. When it drag throws against zone, He made those. The defense made adjustments to those. And I'm telling you right now, the A.J. Brown pass was the only pass he completed the second half of practice that wasn't a dump off or a screen. That wasn't 6 yards from the line of scrimmage. The TJ on the 2-minute drill, the 2-minute drive they did, TJ Edwards should have intercepted. By the way, and that's somebody I want to talk about, like as the show gets on, is how good TJ Edwards. He looks like he's stepping into being a lead linebacker in the NFL, and I think he's going to be a really good linebacker. And I think the Eagles, for once in my me following them, have a good linebacking group.
True. What do you think of N'Kobe Dean and how he's doing?
Well, N'Kobe Dean's playing with the second team right now, Godfrey. I don't know how much I could judge of him playing with the second team. The second team didn't move the ball at all. If anyone's looking for Gardner Minshew, he didn't move the ball at all. He was sacked 5 times in the times he was out there. N'Kobe Dean looked great. Nothing was thrown over the middle of the field. But, like, you don't know how they're going to look when you're going against the second team. N'Kobe
So
Dean's going to eventually have to go against. Well, the problem is the Eagles only start 2 linebackers. They don't
Right.
start 3. They don't play 3. So
Mhm.
they're going to run nickel, which means they're going to have 2 linebackers on the field. And as of right now, those 2 linebackers are going to be TJ Edwards and Kazir White from the Chargers that they picked up this offseason. So
Yep.
the third linebacker spot, when they go 4-3 or they go big, it'll be either N'Kobe Dean or Davion Taylor. And they're basically splitting those reps with the first team. Davion wasn't at the practice, and the Eagles ran 3-4 wide receiver sets the entire practice. So you didn't see any nickel. You didn't see anything besides nickel from the Eagles defense. Avonte Maddox was out there the entire time.
Yeah. So, I mean, thought the defense looked good. I guess we'll talk about some positives. Jordan Davis looks like an absolute monster. I'm not even talking about playing, just seeing him as a human being on the field.
Yep.
It's like, wow, this guy. It's the same feeling I got, even though it's not relatable. Like when I saw like the Big Show from wrestling in person, I was like, what a massive human being. Jordan
You
Davis
didn't.
is
So for anyone who hasn't been to Eagles practice, they introduce everyone. They introduce all the players. They introduce, like, for the first time, James Bradbury or Hassan Reddick. You didn't need, like, they introduced Jordan Davis, but like everyone knew when Jordan Davis came out of the tunnel. Like, you knew that.
Yeah.
That man is
Yeah.
massive. He is huge. I remember it was like the whole thing with Cam Jurgens happened in the middle of 7-on-7s for the offense. So they were basically doing it on their side of the field. And I remember watching that specifically, and I didn't know who it was. I thought at first it was Jason Kelsey because on the side of the field, and I knew it was the center, and it was Cam Jurgens. And nothing against Cam Jurgens, but I don't know how any offensive lineman is going to be able to guard him one-on-one in the middle. It's just not going to happen. I don't know any guard or center that's going to be able to guard him. He's going to command a double team every play. And what that means is you got single coverage for Fletcher Cox, for Javon Hargrave. You could start blitzing linebackers up the middle. Kazir White's a fast linebacker. You can shoot him through the A-gap. TJ Edwards, Davion Taylor, who's going to convert somewhat to a safety at times. So you're going to see speed rushes up the middle when Jordan Davis is on there, and they're going to be your run stopper. I guarantee you the Eagles have more tackles for loss this year than they did last year by a lot. I think it'll be a huge jump defensively against the run, particularly when Jordan Davis is on the field.
Yeah, he and he was asked about it, and he said, has he seen it? Does he like it? And he said, I hate it, honestly. This is a direct quote from Jordan Davis. That I just feel like it's very one-sided. You see one rep, but you don't see Cam blocking me and getting me at practice and getting me at the other reps. So I always say looks can be deceiving, one rep and it goes viral, whatever. But Cam is holding his own. He's a very good player. It's just been a competition. So he's checking off the good teammate box as well. The
100%.
correct answer.
You can't ask for a better answer than that. You cannot ask for a better answer.
but
Jordan
I do
Davis
detect.
absolutely destroyed him. And if he, what does he say? How do you say that better? Like, you want to make
Can't.
sure your teammate doesn't look bad, but you also want to come off extremely humble. And by saying that Cam Jurgens is getting you during practice, you're also perceiving to other teams that they might not need to double team you, and that might be a single rep. But I don't think after watching that anybody's going to believe that.
Yeah, I think he didn't want to embarrass his teammate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's good because you shouldn't want to. But yeah. So training camp battles. What are some notable ones that you're paying attention to?
I mean, the one that I didn't even think that would be one going into the season is Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell. A lot of people don't realize that Kenneth Gainwell was taking a ton of first team snaps. Now, during the open practice, of course, Miles Sanders is going to get all the first team snaps to make sure the media doesn't blow that out of proportion. But anybody that's been watching practices that weren't open to everyone, like reporters are talking about Kenneth Gainwell getting first team snaps. I think that's huge. I think that's something that a lot of Eagles fans need to keep an eye on, is if Kenneth Gainwell could take the starting job away from Miles Sanders. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, the coach was wearing a Kenneth Gainwell T-shirt,
Which was awful, which was so bad. And I understand being a fan of your players. I understand being a fan of like the guys you have on your team, but you can't do that, man. That is so bad.
Yeah, and first off, I'm surprised that a Kenneth Gainwell T-shirt exists. That's impressive in itself. I don't know if he's gained T-shirt status yet. Just saying. I'm saying, you know, and I don't know if that was custom made or they're selling it in the pro shop. Maybe I missed it, but I mean, I buy a lot of stuff like sports related, and I wouldn't buy the Kenneth Gainwell one, but I'd be surprised to see it on Fanatics. Just saying. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. So
Here's
when you said that to
here's
me, I was
three
like, what? Yeah.
here's three other
I
camp
mean,
battles that a lot of people don't know that are happening right now. One of the camp battles that is most notable is the slot receiver battle between Dak Pascal, Wes Watkins, and Jalen Rager. Jalen Rager
hmm,
received all second team snaps. Wes Watkins received all first team snaps at the open practice. Recently, Jalen Rager was asked about this. He said it's really different playing at TCU, getting the ball 12 times a game versus seeing it 3 in the NFL. He also said, I'm going to make those 3 to 4 touches count. I'm going to make those touches count this year. So he's saying the right things in practice. He says he wants to be an Eagle for life, whereas most people would have just racing for the exit. But I think that's a very notable battle. Zach Pascal, the guy they brought in from Indy, who worked with Coach Sirianni prior, Wes Watkins, who claims to be the fastest receiver in the NFL, and Jalen Rager, first round draft pick, that's fallen to the wayside.
yeah, I saw a tweet from Derek Gunn, I believe, saying that Jalen Rager, the light has turned on for him. I don't know if that's just training camp hype or I believe that. Maybe it was a maturity thing for him and he had the ability. We'll see. Maybe he's not sliding into people's DMs talking shit. Um, I still I gotta see it in the game. You know what I mean? And I just feel like, you know, they're talking him up and he's gonna have a longer leash than most guys because he's a first round pick and they don't want that to be a mistake. I mean,
When
the
you show me you're
Eagles have
mentally
shown they'll
weak,
go. Yeah, the Eagles have
when you
shown they'll
show
go
me
to
you're
great
mentally
depths.
weak, Ed, I'm
He
sorry.
shows you. Yeah, you no,
So
you
when you
continue. You're saying
show
mental
that you're
weakness,
mentally weak, he's mentally
right?
weak. When you are arguing with fans and are mentally weak about everything that you're doing, it's just you shown me mental weakness already. I don't need to. I don't need to see more.
Yeah, yeah, it's true, and I just kind of feel like show it on the field. I think Zach Pasquale is going to be the more polished veteran because he's been in the Sirianni system, so to speak, but that doesn't mean he'll necessarily win out. Um, the other guy, Quez Watkins, I think he's fast. I just question his route running ability, or maybe that is the lack of ability of anticipatory throws, or a combination of both with Jalen Hurts. I'm not so sure. That will have to play out. But I mean, who do you think wins that out of the three? The toss up right now.
I think Zach will be your opening day starter. I think that a lot of that has to do with him being a veteran and
Right.
the trust that Sirianni will have in him. I think by the end of the year, it'll be firmly Quez Watkins' position.
That'd be interesting to see. That'll be interesting. That's Philly, folks. If you hear this police siren in the background, so
Also, I'll give you another one. Cam Jurgens is actually in a training camp battle with Isaac Seumalo for the right guard position.
Interesting. That I did not know. Interesting.
Cam Jurgens is taking all the first team snaps at center because Jason Kelsey's having a procedure on his elbow. So he's taking all the first team snaps. But a lot of people don't realize that he is in a training camp battle for the right guard starting position versus Isaac Seumalo.
Yeah. I mean, Isaac's not a bad guard. I mean, it's good to have depth. I mean, is there a chance that I know the Eagles are optimistic that Kelsey will be ready for the season? And is there a chance that he's not? Right?
No,
it seems up in the air
forever.
If there's a guy that's going to say, if there's a guy that I'm going to say that's going to be like, yeah, I'm playing no matter what, it's going to be Kelsey. So
he'll start week 1. I have no doubt in my mind that he'll start week 1. A couple other training camp battles on the defensive side of the ball. And the defensive side of the ball isn't fun. All right, let me explain to you why. Because there's no real defensive, there's a rotation that the Eagles put in. So defensive ends, right? Who's your defensive end starters?
Reddick. I mean, but
Hassan Reddick.
Well, they're doing
Brandon Graham.
No, they're doing 3-4.
Josh Sweat. Okay, but my point being is
they're doing a hybrid 3-4 though, aren't they?
He'll be your edge rusher. Mm-hmm. He'll be your edge rusher. But who you starting? Who's your all right? So who's your front seven? If you want to say it that way, then who's your front seven? If you're doing a 3-4, they're not running a 3-4. They're running nickel. They're running a 3-3-5. If you really want to be honest about it, they're running 3 down linemen, 3 basically a joker type and Hassan Reddick, and 2 linebackers, and they're running 5 players in the secondary. They're running a nickel corner on almost every play. So it's a 3-3-5 if you really want to break it down in a statistical standpoint, because Hassan Reddick's going to be listed as a linebacker. But the truth is there'll be a lot of times they're running a 4-3, and Hassan Reddick will be listed as the outside defensive end. But on obvious passing downs, Jordan Davis won't be on the field. It'll be Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, or Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick. That'll be the 4 people rushing the quarterback. But
yeah, I mean, that's
who sits on the big third down. I don't look at the starters. Starters don't matter to me.
Right.
My question is, who sits on the big third down? It's a timeout. It's 3rd and 4. Who are you running out there? They have a 3 wide receiver set, right? And the way to get the Eagles out of what they want to do is to have 3 wide receivers on the field all the time. Like what the Eagles did this offseason was make sure the Tampa Bay Buccaneers couldn't run Leonard Fournette up the middle for 7 yards every friggin' play of the game. You remember that game on Thursday Night Football? He was running up the middle for 7 yards every play. You can't do that when Jordan Davis on the field.
Yeah,
but if it's
the game was not as close.
Correct. If it's a 3rd and 4, or even a 4th and 3, who's the 7 guys you have up front? Or 6?
Jordan Davis, you got Hassan Reddick, you got Fletcher Cox probably, right? And Josh Sweat on the end.
Jordan Davis? I don't know if Jordan Davis is on the field.
Right. If it's 3rd and 3, you would think, right?
You're sitting down Pro Bowl. You're sitting down Pro Bowler Javon Hargrave.
That's true.
It's a Pro Bowl.
It's true.
Year.
That's hard.
Is Brandon Graham sitting?
Maybe you go Hargraves and Davis.
You're sitting Fletcher?
I don't know.
$16 million sit on the bench?
I know. That's tough. You're right.
That you want to ask yourself.
Mm-hmm. What about the running backs, though?
We talked about the running backs. Kind of Gainwell, Miles Sanders. I think
how do you think about Kennedy Brooks look? I mean, I know
Kennedy Brooks looked great.
Yeah, I thought he did too.
He did. We'll see a lot more of Kennedy Brooks and a lot of those guys in these preseason games, and you can kind of understand. Kennedy Brooks isn't playing like don't be. He's a training camp superstar, which a lot of these guys turn into, and that's how they make the
Like
NFL
Huntley.
roster.
Huntley is a
exactly.
preseason superstar.
But
I feel like
these
every
guys aren't
preseason it's
playing.
like, look at Huntley. No. I mean, it's definitely going to be a mix of Sanders and Gainwell, and Boston Scott's been hurt. But, I've heard light trade rumors about Eagles looking for a running back. I don't know how credible they are, but,
Kareem Hunt for Andre Dillard. That's the biggest trade rumor.
Would you do it?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, what does Kareem Hunt give you that you're not getting with Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell? And
what
is the versatility of not having a good backup left tackle? I feel like a left tackle that can start in the NFL is way more valuable than a running back. Just my opinion.
What about a Josh Jacobs? Would you take Would you take Josh Jacobs over a Kareem Hunt if you had to pick one of the two?
No, I don't want Josh Jacobs either. Okay. I don't want slow running back.
Right. Yeah, and I agree. The value isn't there. I mean, Kareem Hunt's older. He's been having injury issues the last 2 years. And also you have to think, like, the Browns have a good offensive line. I mean, I'm pretty sure they would like more depth, but they basically said, you'll be coming back to practice, Kareem, and he did that because he has no leverage. Zero leverage for a trade.
Kareem Hunt's not older.
Yeah, he's about 27, but his window is closing, and it's closed. The better running back is Nick Chubb, and I think that he's just depth, He should be kissing their shoes. They saved his career.
Where are we at in the world where we're calling 27-year-olds old? It's crazy.
Well, running back age, right? I mean, it's not old. You're right.
No,
it is crazy.
I get your point. But 27 is not old. The prime of your NFL career.
Yeah. He's had some nagging injuries, though. I mean, I don't think he's a bad running back. I mean, I think he would fit great on the Rams, but we'll see. You don't think so? I heard a funny stat about the Rams. Andre Whitworth got to be a Hall of Fame tackle. They didn't really replace him, and they ran 25% of their run plays behind him. I believe he's a left tackle, correct? And so, for some reason, they decided they didn't really do a lot for that. So, how does that translate onto the field for them? So, this isn't a Ram show, but I'm just, people don't think about stuff like that, and maybe that's why you think he wouldn't be a good fit there. I don't know.
I don't think he'd be a good fit there because I don't think Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt is a great fit for a place like Kansas City where he was. I think that's a perfect fit for him. An offense that's going to pass the ball to the running back more than hand it to him. He's a good receiving back. I don't think Matt Stafford, I don't think that's really his MO is to dump it down. He loves to show off that arm and throw the ball downfield. It's just that's not a fit, in my opinion. I think Kareem Hunt would be a great fit in Miami. They don't have a running back. They have 7 running backs that all stink.
They have a collection of running backs. I would stay away from that fantasy-wise.
Correct. Don't draft a Miami running back. Who's starting? You tell me.
I don't know, man. I feel like he's going to try to do Kyle Shanahan 2.0 over there and kind of rotate in whoever is that. And, 1 week it's going to be Raheem Mostert. 1 week it's going to be Sony Michel. It's just like, I don't want any part of that. Fantasy-wise, who do you think could be a sleeper on the Eagles? Anybody? I mean, it could be no.
I think Dallas Goedert will be a good tight end for the Eagles. I think that Jalen Hurts will end up still throwing him the ball a ton. I think A.J. Brown will create. I don't think where A.J. Brown's ADP helps anybody take him. I would not take an Eagles wide receiver at their current ADPs. I think people think Philadelphia is going to throw the ball, and I think that people think Philadelphia's receivers are going to have big years statistically, and there's no chance that happens. Devontae Smith takes a step forward, but his ADP is still high. Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, the running back by committee for the Philadelphia Eagles is not worth drafting. Jalen Hurts is the only player on the Eagles roster I think that has a good ADP, and that's because his legs. He runs the football. He can get 6 points with his legs. and you get a point for every 10 yards rushing.
Yeah, 100%. And they brought A.J. Brown in to stretch the field, and I think he can help. I think he's got a pretty good wingspan where he can help the inaccuracies of Jalen Hurts sometimes on the throw. And I think that's what their thinking was, or had to be at least. And they're going to throw him those short balls. They want him to take them to the house. Same similar plays you tried to see in Tennessee, except Ryan Tannehill was pretty damn good at play action, in my opinion. And I don't know if Jalen Hurts is. Right? Everybody keeps saying, "Well, play action is your answer," but can he perform play action? Right? Our team's going to bite on it.
I don't think Jalen Hurts is a bad play action quarterback or a good play action quarterback. I think that Jalen Hurts' biggest problem is he has to see it before he throws it, and that drives me absolutely nuts. You got to be able to anticipate a route. You see some of the best throws during the season, and they're thrown when the ball like you look at the Super Bowl. Matt Stafford threw a ball to Cooper Kupp that he caught for that 60-yard or 55-yard play. When he threw the ball, the guy was 2 to 3 feet in front of the San Francisco safety. When he caught the ball, he was 3-4 yards behind him. And I think that throws like that are things that you need to see Jalen Hurts do. And he can't do that. And that's a huge issue. Godfrey?
I am here. Sorry, folks. I had
to
plug in my charger. I had a different charger plugged in. I was just trying to make sure everything was going with that because my charger was acting a little funny. And don't want power going out in the middle of the show. So sorry.
Okay.
My apologies. Thanks for holding it down, Gene. Because I was like, oh shit. Can't have that happen. All right, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, man. Working out the kinks. Little things like, which charger, how to,
And he's frozen. So, Mike, you want to hop on and we can talk some Eagles football? Because I think he's disconnected.
I think he 100%, whatever he just did, disconnected himself. So
at the end of the day, first time Birds Deep going remote. You will get better as this goes on.
Absolutely.
But Mike, I think that, and I'll talk. Let me ask you a question. As a casual fan that watches just the Eagles, what from an outsider's perspective, what are the things that you're hearing? You hear that they're going to be good. You hear they're going to be bad.
So
what's Laura's thoughts?
I've been hearing bad. And it's funny because if Laura was here right now, she'd be able to jump on and talk this like nobody's business. She is so in tune with the Eagles way more than I am. But I do watch the news. I get to see what's going on. I've been hearing people not happy with what they saw with some of the training that they were doing. Is that what it was? Yeah, the open practice.
Yeah, they had an open practice. The Eagles had 30,000 people at an open practice. I need you to understand how ridiculous our fan base is.
Oh,
the Philadelphia Phillies, who are in a playoff hunt, had 26,000 people at the game the other night. The Philadelphia Eagles at an open practice that meant nothing had 30,000 people.
I might not be a big fan of football, but I've been to many games. From just the insanity that ensues at the tailgates at the Eagles tailgate, to the amount of people that show up with no tickets, to the amount of people that show up to games that are, like you said, practice games. It is insanity. The diehard fans that are there, win, lose, or draw, good, bad, indifferent. It's craziness. I saw that people were not happy with whatever they were doing on the field. A lot of posts online not happy with what they saw. And then you get the few people that are on there just like, we're going to you're always going to get the people that are the extreme optimistics. And I'm saying the extreme, like we're going to the Super Bowl this year. But you got to have those people as well who are rooting them on to take it all the way. I was there. I was watching the game when they won the Super Bowl. How many years ago was that? 7 years ago?
No, it's 2017. 2018.
Oh, wow.
In February is when it happened. It was Less than
Seems
40.
like forever ago, but it also feels like yesterday. I would love to see that happen again because, I mean, I don't think there's been any kind of parade since that before. The fan base, the people that came back to Philly for that, it is all inspiring to see how they pull together.
They had 30,000 people at the open practice.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them, like me, got there at 4:00 in the afternoon, tailgated in the parking lot for 3 hours before the practice started. We sat there in the parking lot, talked Eagles football. I had a couple beers and enjoyed the time. Some of them were like Godfrey that were at the Phillies game that walked right across the street and walked right into the Eagles open practice, which was $10. They bought the ticket.
Yeah.
They got in there. You sit where the hell you want, and you watch practice.
You
And
sit wherever you want, so it's first come, first serve for seating.
Correct. Yes.
That sounds dangerous in Philly. I just want to say that.
No, it's fun. People just like you can go at anywhere you want and sit down and it's just like it's almost like and everybody pays $10, so it's not like people are fighting for seats. It's not like a crazy. If you were paying $100 a pop, maybe like they're not rushing the gates for the best spot. If you paid $25, you could stand on the field, and they did half the money went to a donation, NovaCare donation. So it was really cool. They did autism. They had a 50-50. They raised another $10,000 for autism.
Jesus.
So I mean, that open practice probably raised a lot of money. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun going there.
I did see that. Did I see you tailgating it? You, Dante, and a couple other people with microphones too. You were recording a show
in the
there.
Parking lot.
Oh, that was pretty cool. That's really, I love, you know me, I love seeing stuff like that. Fans being able to bring today's technology, bringing recording devices to a game, and actually, because being there is such, the vibe when you're there is so different than doing a podcast, whether you're remote, whether you're in a studio. But to do it there, I think the emotions are so raw. That was really cool to see you guys doing that.
He had 5 smartphones set up in different angles, and then he would edit it to clip when the people were talking, that the smartphone would be aimed in on that person, which I thought was really smart.
All in post editing? I know I'm going to be geeking on this because that takes a lot of work. So props to him.
It wasn't live.
No, that's what I'm saying. And post, so he post edited that all together. Props to him. That takes a lot of skill, a lot of patience, and a lot of work to do that. So props to him.
Yeah. So.
Oh, there we
go. Part of the reason is D Godfrey back.
You know we're in trouble when we got toxic Mike.
You know what?
Hey,
it's a Birds Deep episode.
Way to hold it down, though, guys. Got to say that.
Yes.
Yeah, way to hold it down.
Hey, man. That was my South Jersey, right across the bridge. I know what it's all about. I might not be rooting, in the stands, screaming my head off. I know what it's all about.
If we were on live radio, we'd probably have been fined by the FCC. I'd probably let out like 5 F-bombs. My charger's plugged in, it's lit up, and then the computer died anyway. I'm like, how is that possible? I'm like, all my lights went off. So if my lighting seems kind of shitty, my apologies. But anyway,
my
I'm back.
lighting's worse than yours, brother.
Yeah, well, I could tell you that I was like, you got to be shitting me. Fucking in the middle of the fucking show. That's why I was fooling around with the charger earlier. But anyway, the kinks will get worked out. It's the first episode. I'm gonna make Mike. Maybe I'll make him watch a game one of these times. Like just sit there and watch it and see how long I could get him to last.
I'll tell you the truth. We go up to Skeeter's, and while game's on and they got the game on, I'm there, and you'll be very surprised at how much I actually do know about football and the calls and all that kind of stuff without being a fan. I've been around.
Skeeters might have the home shopping network on during the game though.
Oh God. Listen, I'll never ever forgive them for that.
Yeah. I was like, oh, why don't you just put on fucking CNN during the Sixers game? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, it was unbelievable, and I felt bad for the poor waitress. They couldn't figure out how to turn the TV on because I guess the one guy that knew how to work the volume wasn't in. It's got to be. We could have probably went back there and figured it out for him. They're like, hey, if you want to get it turned on, we'll let you go into the room and turn it on. You know what I mean? Like, it couldn't have been any worse.
They said their policy was that they don't play the volume during the regular season, only in the playoffs. We're watching Ben Simmons' first game back to Philadelphia. That's the game we want to watch, right? Most anticipated game of the whole year. It was on TNT. and we wanted to hear what they were saying or what was going on in the court. Everyone there is like, can you turn the volume on? And they're like, yeah, we can't. We're playing music. And like, just we're watching the Sixers game, listening to pour some sugar on me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Or
Like,
never
what are we
gonna
doing?
let
Why
you
is this
down.
going
Never
on?
gonna. It was like, what
It was
the fuck?
terrible.
Never gonna hurt you. Anyway,
All right, don't celebrate it, bro. Just kidding.
after do you still feel like the Eagles have a shot at the division after seeing this practice? Are you downgrading them or upgrading them after what you've seen so far in training camp and practice?
I think they look exactly. All right, so like, Godfrey, here's the problem, right? Go through their schedule. Like, go through their schedule. I'm serious when I say that. Like, they're gonna still win 10 games because their schedule is brutal. Like, all right, just for fun, right? Watch this. I'm gonna read you out just the starting quarterback because that's all you've talked to me a million times, right? All that matters to me, starting quarterback. I'm gonna read you the starting quarterback. You tell me what your thoughts are. Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Mitch Trubisky, Davis Mills, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers. There's one. Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, Dak Prescott, Jameis Winston, and Daniel Jones.
Yeah, they don't really have a tough quarterback schedule going on. That's good.
So their defense plays really well against quarterbacks that can't shred them. They don't have like great accuracy. So I think their defense is going to keep them in a lot of games. I think Jalen Hurts' legs will get them to score points. But I think that where you're going to run into your big issues is when you have to score with a Kansas City or you have to score with a Tampa Bay or you have to score with a Green Bay. I don't think the Eagles can stop them.
Right.
And I don't think they can score with them.
Yeah, and people forget that too. Like, we've done this on the show too. We were like, well, let's go over the quarterbacks that they beat last year. And they say you got to the playoffs. I'm like, you do realize who they played, right? And I know they can only play who they could play, but those weren't really like bad quarterback matchups where you were like, okay, they really took that out. I mean, Tom Brady shredded him. That's just one. That
Derek
game
Carr
wasn't as
shredded
close.
him. Justin Herbert shredded him.
Derek Carr was like, what, 80%?
93%.
Oh, higher than I thought.
93%.
I agree. I mean, I look at that and I wonder, I want to see progression, and I think the Eagles are a better team than last year just on paper. But I don't know if I'm getting. I really wanted to see Jalen Hurts take a step forward. I'm not asking him to be a Hall of Famer. I'm just asking for a progression in a positive way toward the passing game. That's all. I mean, did you look at? I know I'm not saying he's better, but when we were looking at the quarterbacks throw, like Carson Strong, Minshew, Hurts, warming up. Did you like look at some of the other quarterbacks, like even, I don't know, Carson Strong when they were throwing the routes down the sideline to the running back?
And there goes Godfrey again. Yeah, no. So what Godfrey's asking is how I thought the progression was on each quarterback and what their arm strength was on throwing the outside routes, the outs, the go routes, the slants. So no, there's not a huge difference. The big difference is Jalen Hurts has incredible intangible. He has great legs. He can escape the pocket. He can create more time. But like just arm talent alone, I think he's got to be the third best quarterback on the roster, arm talent wise. That sounds like a hater, but it's the truth. I think his legs upgrade him a ton. I think his intangibles upgrade him a ton. But at the end of the day, arm talent as a whole is not. It's not anywhere near. I think he's a bottom third NFL starter just with arm talent. And then I think outside of arm talent, his intangibles take him to that top 20 and that 16 to 20 range where I have him rated.
Decided to take a crap. So I was ready for it. I was ready for the audible. So I heard what you were saying about Carson Strong and all that toward the end. So, it's early. I mean, do you think any surprises come out of camp like that? We don't foresee like something major. Barring an injury, obviously. My guess would be based off what you're saying, but what I saw is the biggest surprise that might happen would be a Kenneth Gainwell being named the starter over Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I think that would be. I'm pulling up the Eagles depth chart right now because I wanted to read something that I think you'll find interesting. So,
do you put a lot of weight in the depth charts? Like, do you think some teams are accurate with that, or they just move it around? I'm just curious because I know some people do, some people don't.
I put a lot of weight into the initial depth chart because the Philadelphia Eagles put that out intentionally, kind of show you where their head's at, right? The initial depth chart has Zach Pascal as the wide receiver 4, Wes Watkins starting in the slot, Jalen Reagor as the wide receiver 5. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think that one of the surprises you're going to see is I don't think Greg Ward makes the team. I think that might surprise
He's being hurt.
People.
It's not going to help you either, right?
No, I don't think he makes the team. And I think you'll see Cam Jurgens starting it at right guard by week 3 or 4. I really believe.
What about the track kid? Do you think he makes it as a special teamer?
Yes.
Number 41.
The track kid. Brenton
I can't
Cody.
remember his last name, but
I know who
he is. Okay.
Or Devin Allen, sorry.
See? No, he's all right. So, because we were watching the punts, and I thought he did pretty decent. Reagor's going to be there. I think they trust Ward, but I think Reagor ends up returning punts. I could be wrong, but I think he'll be doing that. I mean, would you agree?
Yes. You know their tight end? I'm not kidding with you. I'm not tight end. You know their cornerback 4 is? Like, it's very easy to hear their cornerbacks 1, 2, and 3, right? It's Darius
Maddox,
Slay,
Bradbury.
James Bradbury, Avonte Maddox.
Right.
I want you to see if you can get who their cornerback 4 is.
Ooh. Oh man. No, Joseph is gone, right? So that's not their cornerback 4. I would have to cheat. I would have to cheat.
It's Zach McPherson.
Okay. They draft that. It was a late round pick, or it was an undrafted free agent?
Fifth round.
Okay. Oh yeah, Texas Tech.
No. Yeah, Texas.
I thought it was Texas. It is Texas Tech.
Yes, I'm kidding with
you. Okay, I thought some people. Because I remember when he got picked, other people wanted some other cornerbacks that were on the board right there, so people weren't really happy with that. So, but yeah, round 4, pick 123 is and I can't tell you that I'm trying to remember when I was at practice and I saw the other guys, but I don't remember if I paid a lot of attention to Zach. I mean, what did you see of him out there?
I think he looks good. I think he looks. If you remember Zach McPherson's story, he's from a family of athletes. Like I think his mother was an Olympian. His father played pro tennis, or it might have been the opposite way. His father might be a pro tennis player. His mother might have been an Olympian. But he's from a whole family full of athletes. So he understands how to handle himself in that stage. I think that Zach McPherson will be fine. I think that it will turn out to be a decent pick for the Eagles. I think he'll see plenty of snaps this year. I think he's going to have a big interception sometime during the season, too. You'll be ready for that one.
So outside of the quarterback, what's the biggest Achilles heel for the Eagles? Because, I mean, I know a lot of people are going to go to quarterback.
It's the safeties.
Safeties, okay.
Anthony Harris and Marcus Epps. That's your biggest problem. Go get Jesse Bates, man. Go out there and get Jesse Bates. You want to trade Andre Dillard or something, go get Jesse Bates.
Yeah, I think what's the knock on Jesse Bates? Because I feel like he just wants a new contract and they don't want to pay him.
There's no knock on him. He had a bad start the last season, and he was the best player on their defense for the entire playoff run for Cincinnati. By far.
Right. So why
He had a bad
why is
start.
he demanding
He
a
wants
trade
he wants
or
a $17 million. He wants a $17 million a year contract. Be paid like he's the best safety in football when he had a bad 13, 14 games last year and didn't turn it on until the playoffs.
right? So you can't come in being the damn near the highest played person at the position when you're not given a full season, right? No.
But when you do it on the biggest stage, you're going to want
That counts
money.
for a lot.
Joe Flacco got paid a record contract because he won the Baltimore Ravens the Super Bowl. He was a bad quarterback all year and got hot for 3 games. Won them a Super Bowl, and all of a sudden he was the highest paid quarterback in football. Joe Flacco. I want to be clear when I say that.
Yeah,
When you do
no,
it on
you're
the
right
biggest
on that.
stage,
They have to get the bloated contracts anyway. The quarterbacks, right? They get the inflated number. I mean, look at Sammy Sleeves. How much money that crook make?
he stole money.
We don't feel this way about Nick Foles. I mean, because he won the Super Bowl for the Eagles, but he got a couple contracts that were not favorable for the team after he went there at all.
Nick Foles got one contract that wasn't favorable to the team, and that was Jackson. That's
Well, no,
it.
the St. Louis
Whole
Rams
career.
contract, they paid him. They paid him. I mean, not like
Look it
it
up.
wasn't like top 5 quarterback money.
Didn't pay him much.
Right. Well, listen, he's back with Frank. So, any other? So I think we pretty much
Who
covered
stood out to
all
you,
of the
Godfrey?
Eagles.
Who stood out to you at practice? Who did you like watching?
I mean, I'm gonna have some obvious answers. I thought Huntley stood out. I thought he was shifty. I thought he caught the ball well. I thought, and I'm not gonna remember this guy's name who caught my eye. It was a tight end, number 83. I believe he caught a touchdown in one of the drives. Oh man, I can't remember his goddamn name. I want to say
Jack Stoll.
oh yeah. I thought he had some nice catches.
He's their tight end too, bro.
I think he's solid. I think he showed solid that night we were there. Made some good catches. Huntley showed saying, Huntley's always that. Kennedy Brooks stood out for me. I think the running backs in general did well. They didn't have, Mailata wasn't playing. Kelsey wasn't playing. Or was Kelsey playing? He wasn't playing, was he? Or he was practicing?
No,
I'm trying to remember.
Battle was injury.
No. Yeah.
Mailata and Dillard were both out with concussions. They're starting a third
Right.
string left tackle.
Devontae was out.
Devontae was out with a hamstring.
Yeah. So, I mean, Stoll stood
Knock
out to
on
me.
wood. The Eagles have not been too injury riddled during the preseason, so knock on wood there. Nothing really bad has happened yet, which is great. Still have the preseason games to get through. Tomorrow night, you're going to see starters for the first 2 series, so that'll be fun to see. I think seeing live action and getting a taste of getting hit is really important for a lot of these players. The Eagles started 2-5 last year, notably, after they had a very weak training camp, a weak practice schedule. I think
They should have been 3-4. They should have won that Niners game.
What?
I think that. Well, I mean, I'm just saying in the red zone, his play calling, Nick Sirianni, was pretty awful against the Niners. Come away with no points, going away, So I think that it could have been a lot closer. I mean, it wasn't a far game with points. Neither team really played a great game. The beginning of the football year for the NFL overall worries me in a sense where I feel like this is where not practicing the same way they used to, and I get the injury risks that are trying to minimize. But I almost feel like the first 3 weeks, roughly, you get football that's not up to par sometimes. You know what I mean?
100%.
And it's like, oh boy. So, but that's not to say they wouldn't have had a slow start either way last year. I'm just saying, in general, the NFL in the first 3 weeks, man, you want to talk about upset weeks or weeks that are just gonna come out of nowhere, man. Those are the weeks, and I wish they would play more in the preseason.
When the Eagles used to practice at Lehigh with Andy Reid, they used to run 2 a day. Sometimes
There's
3
no
a day.
anymore.
What? No.
Yeah, there's not anymore.
They used to practice with pads on. They don't practice with pads. CBA has changed a lot of these practice rules. And I think that it has made the players inherently soft. A lot of tissue injuries happen early in the season because they're not used to the hits. They're not used to, live action.
Did you watch Hard Knocks?
I haven't yet.
So it's funny you bring that up because the first episode, Dan Campbell was apologizing to his teams because it seems like he was making them wear pads earlier and they weren't into it. And there was a scene where Jamal Williams cried about it because they had a bad practice, which I thought was interesting. Backup running back is the leader of the team, which is interesting. But he was saying, guys, this is going to pay off. We need to know how to tackle. And he was emphasizing not getting a slow start, and we lose all these games, and then we look back at week 9 saying we weren't ready and we weren't executing on the fundamentals. And he was saying to them, like, listen, I know it seems now like it's crazy, but trust me, in the long run, this is going to work. And I'm putting you guys in the best position possible to win games because he had them using pads, I think, early. And it doesn't surprise me. Dan Campbell's a maniac earlier than I think most people around the league were.
Godfrey, I got news for you. If I had to pick that Lions-Eagles game today, I'd be picking the Lions to win week 1. I'm dead serious when I say that. And I 100% think the Lions are
I'm not against that. What's the spread right now?
3.5.
Is it out?
Yes. It's
3.5. So Eagles are favored by 3.5?
Yes.
On the road? No, that's in the vet. I'm sorry, that's at the vet.
No,
I mean the vet.
On the road. It's not in the vet. It's in Detroit.
And it wouldn't be the vet if it was at home either. It would be in a link. Jesus. All right. Well, that was
your first show, man. It's your first show.
Yeah. So it's in Detroit, and they're 3.5-point road favorites. I would have to agree with you on your assessment of I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles lost that or they didn't cover. I was thinking that too because I think they're going to be ready. I think that Lions team is going to be ready. I don't know if they're going to be all season. I think Dan Campbell's going to have them ready. I just think that dude brings a toughness to the team. He's not wearing Jamal Williams shirts.
If the Eagles win that game, it's one on the defensive side of the ball. I think Jared Goff throws a late interception that could be the difference in the game. But I really, really don't believe we're going to move the ball at will versus the Lions. I could see us getting out to an early 7-0 lead, and then the offense sputters. I could see a big turnover from the Eagles offense, letting the Lions in the game. Dude, 20-17. You pick which way it goes.
I could see that. And their coaching staff is very interesting. They have a lot of former players. You got Aaron Glenn, Hughes Staley. I believe Aaron Glenn's the defensive coordinator. Dan Campbell, obviously. Mark Brunell is a quarterbacks coach. That's just to name a few. I don't know how that plays out. It's going to be interesting to see how Antoine Randall, receivers coach. That's right. Forgot about him. There's probably someone else I missed too. Shepard. He was a former linebacker. And I'm watching that, and I'm like, oh, I wonder how that's going to work, and I see them preach this toughness. I'm not trying to say, I'm just bringing that up because I think it's relevant because of the thing before we did the show. We were talking about how everybody's always talking about practice and how they practice, and you hear guys like Reese talking about it on the radio, who was part of the Andy Reid era, and I'm hoping that doesn't matriculate into a negative way into the start of the season, and I fear it may.
Oh, trust me, man. If I had to pick the game today, I would be picking the Lions to win the football game. I'm hoping by game day, I think the Eagles win, but don't cover. I'm telling you, that game's not going to be like 44-6 last year. I promise you that.
No. They remember. Believe me, if you're an NFL team and you were a part of that game last year, you remember that game. They're talking about that game. They're preparing for that game, and they're talking about how you got your ass kicked, 44-6. How did we end up playing in Detroit 2 years in a row, by the way?
Because we played the NFC North this year, and last year we played them as they finished in their division. Like we finished in our division versus that. So you always
Gotcha.
play one team from each division. Like if you finish third in the division and you're playing the NFC North, you'll play the third in the NFC West and the third in the NFC South. Last year we played the NFC South as a division. This year we play the NFC North as a division.
That should be interesting.
So we have the Packers, and luckily we have the Vikings at home. You know, that's a good one. Be able to get them at home, a 50-50 team. We have the Packers in Philadelphia. So.
Yeah, I like our odds against the Packers better in Philly than in Lambeau, but that's going to be Aaron Rodgers, man. That will be a true test for the defense, that's for sure. But listen, folks,
100%.
that is the first episode. We got anything else to say? We got any counterfeit greens this week?
Not yet, man.
No?
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. We'll review the counterfeit greens when the regular season starts, which we're not far from. Unless we see something that inspires us earlier on and we just have to get it out, which is quite possible after the game. But with that being said, folks, thanks for sticking with me with the technical difficulties. I guarantee you next week it will be much smoother on my side. Gene was 100% on his side, but my man fumbled the football like twice on my computer tonight. But that being said, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week at 7:30. We're doing week to week now, right, Gene?
Yes, sir.
7:30. We'll be back full force. And that's all I got. You got anything for the audience there, Gene?
No, sir. Cannot wait to this Eagles football season, man. We'll talk birds more and more each week. We'll recap how people looked in the preseason game. I'll expect a full breakdown from you, Godfrey. I want you to give me those third stringers, every name. Don't turn that game off.
Don't you worry. I got that. And also, don't forget, Wire to Wire, 7:30 or 6:30. I know we changed the times up.
7 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Wednesday nights, Wire to Wire. And Bird Deep, 6 o'clock. Starts taking it deep, 6 o'clock. Thursday nights before Birds Deep.
And remember, if you need it, Wire to Wire, go right to the Facebook page. You'll get the show. Same thing for Taking It Deep and Birds Deep. Toxic Radio, Birds Deep, and Taking It Deep, and catch all sports. Gene will cover everything under the sun for you as far as sports. And with that being said, folks, we are going to end things. And this is the Godfrey and Gene, not saying goodbye, just saying take it Birds Deep.